Hey guys, what is up and welcome to my channel. It's a Hardback Life. My name is Jordan, and today we're going to be doing my November TBR. Now you guys, before we get into that, I just want to briefly talk about why I have not been around, essentially. So my last video was 3 weeks ago, and before that, I think I posted another video like 3 weeks before that. So I've been filming sporadically because of health issues, work-related issues, and personal life issues. And that has been kind of taking over my life. It's calmed down a little bit because I've actually been proactive in doing things. I've been going to the doctor for my health issues. And you saw in my last video, between July and September, I only read 7 books. And yeah, I'm proud of myself for even doing that. But yeah, it's the same thing pretty much. October, I had all these plans, all these videos that I wanted to do, didn't quite get to do them. And I only read 2 books, so it was a bummer, but it is what it is. Anyway, speaking of those 2 books, let's get into them, shall we? Okay, so the books that I read are as follows. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, which is a reread. Now, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover is a different kind of genre for me because I don't usually read straight up romance. I decided to because a lot of people were bugging me. They were like, "Oh, you need to read this. It's really good. Read it, read it, read it." And I'm like, fine, I'll give Colleen Hoover a shot. And I've heard a lot about this author, like mixed reviews. A lot of people have either disliked her books or liked her books or loved her books, whatever. And I really loved this. I thought the story was engaging, and the way that she goes about telling or talking about the subject matter, which is domestic violence and abuse, whatever have you, she touches on it like very respectfully and beautifully. And it's about a girl named Lily who grew up in an abusive home where she watched her mother constantly get abused by her father. And she meets another character who comes from an abusive situation. And it fast forwards, it goes back and forth between the past and the future, or past and present. And in the present, our main character, Lily, is now in her mid-20s. And she is now in an abusive relationship. And so it's basically gone full circle, and she's trying to claw her way out of it. And it's told very beautifully, in my opinion. I gave this book 5 stars. And by the way, Colleen Hoover has recognized that her books are not the best. She's even said that she's shocked at how much popularity she has gained, or her books have gained, because of TikTok and all that, when there are other really, really good books out there. And which is very humble of someone, especially someone who, gained a lot of popularity. She already had a following, but TikTok skyrocketed her books. So, and she recognizes that. And so after I saw that, I was just like, all the negative talk I hear people say, I'm just like, okay. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I definitely am excited to read It Starts With Us. And I also bought Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, so I'm definitely a Colleen Hoover fan now, like on the Colleen Hoover train. Alright, you guys, the next book I read in October, and the final book I read in October was Once Upon a Broken Heart. This is a reread because I wanted to read it again before I read the second book. I bought the second book, The Ballad of Never After, I pre-ordered it like several months ago, and it finally came when the book came out, which was in September. I can't wait to read it because my first initial read of this book, which I read it in April, I thought the book was just okay. This was also my first book that I read by Stephanie Garber. She's responsible for the Caraval trilogy, which I finally read Caraval back in September. And I really enjoyed Caraval more than I enjoyed this book on my initial read of this book. And my second read through of this book, I enjoyed it more because there were clearly a lot of things that I missed when I read it the first time. Because the second time I was reading it, I was like, what the heck? What is this? Like, I don't remember this. And it just made the experience fun to read it the second time. Anyway, this book is about a girl named Evangeline Fox who basically is the kind of character, she believes in true love and love at first sight, all that jazz. And her love of her life is set to marry her sister. And she doesn't know how that happened. And she basically prays to a fate, the Prince of Hearts specifically, and she begs him to stop the wedding. And he does just that, but he basically bargains with her, saying that she has to tasks for him in order, or so that he will do, like, he agrees to stop the wedding, but now she's entangled with him because she made a bargain with him, basically. And so now she's stuck with him. And yeah, that's where it goes. And it's kind of like a fairy tale-esque book. I enjoyed it the second time around, and I definitely can't wait to read book 2. Okay, now for the books that I plan on reading in November. Okay, so the first book I'm going to mention I've already finished. It was actually a play, and I'm so happy to report that I finished it. It's called August Osage County by Tracy Letts. This is about a family who's basically, they lost their dad, and the whole family comes together, and after the aftermath of the father's death, the whole family just explodes. Like, just several things keep coming up, which brings more drama to the situation, and it gets ugly. And yeah, there's so many different characters, and it's a crazy ride. I definitely recommend this. And it's a play, so it's a different format than like a regular book. I do a lot of theater, like acting wise and all that, so reading a script is fun for me. But yeah, it's still like reading a book. You get to dive in deep with characters that you come to love or hate, and it's just a wonderful experience. Reading plays I love it, and I definitely recommend to all of you to read more plays, especially hard-hitting ones like this one. This is a family drama, and boy, it is dark as well as somewhat comedic, but dark because of everything that happens. It's also a movie, by the way. Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts star in it. The next book I want to talk about is Clockwork Princess. This is the conclusion to the Infernal Devices trilogy, which is my favorite series of all time. I love you know that I love Cassandra Clare. Cassandra Clare is my favorite YA fantasy author. And I talk about her too much on this channel, so honestly I'm not going to apologize for that because like I said, I love Cassandra Clare's books. This is another series set within the Shadowhunter world, where obviously Shadowhunters fight demons to protect the humans and so on. And this one's set in the 19th century, particularly like London, England. And our main character, Tessa Gray, ends up going to London from New York because she gets a letter from her brother saying that he's in trouble. When she gets there, it turns out to be a trap, and ultimately the shadow hunters that she meets come and save her and get her out of the situation, but there's way more to the situation than they realized. And yeah, it's my favorite series of all time. I recommend any book in the Shadowhunter world that Cassandra Clare has written, but this is my favorite series because one, it's set in the 19th century, and because it's beautifully written by my favorite author. Oh, by the way, this will be my third time reading through the Infernal Devices. That's how much I love it. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about is Ready Player One. This is a sci-fi, a futuristic sci-fi about a, I forget the name of the main character. Wade. Wade is living in a trailer park called the Stacks in 2044. I think the year is 2044. And he is obsessed with this video game called the Oasis, which is basically a way of life for this futuristic world now. Everybody basically uses the Oasis for not just gaming, but going to school or working or anything like that. So the Oasis has been like become like a futuristic like way of life for everyone. And the creator of the Oasis has died, and he's basically set out a bunch of clues for the whole world to figure out, and if whoever figures it out inherits the um, creator of Oasis's fortune. And our main character is on a mission to do just that. And I'm on chapter 6, so I'm really enjoying this. I'm only 6 chapters in, and I definitely recommend this series. I think it's going to be a trilogy. Ready Player 3, I think, comes out in 2023. The next one is a manga. I don't usually read mangas, but I saw this and I couldn't resist. Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is one of my favorite animes ever. It's about a group of sailor soldiers who are mainly from the moon, I believe. And they have to stop several enemies from taking over the planet Earth, because that's where they were sent when Queen Beryl basically came and destroyed basically everything on the moon. And now she's part of an evil people called the Negaverse, and they are after, obviously, planet Earth now. And Sailor Moon and the rest of the Sailor Scouts have to stop her, among other villains who are coming from the Negaverse. And I love the original cartoon, and I love this. So I can't wait to finish this because I bought the second and the third volume. Excited to read those. Okay, the next book is the second book in a 6-book series. I planned a 6-book series. I believe it's called Crush. It's the second book in the series called Crave by Tracy Wolff. Like our main character, Grace, her parents die in a tragic car accident. And because of that, she goes and lives with her only remaining family in Alaska and attends this boarding school where all these weird things are happening. And it turns out these weird things are linked to the supernatural world. And she gets caught up in it. And for a lot of reasons which I can't explain because this is book 2 and I don't want to spoil anything. The first book is behind me. It's called Crave. Second book is called Crush. Third book is Covet, and the fourth book, which came out in 2022 at the beginning of the year, is called Court. And there's a fifth book and a sixth book that are going to be coming out within the next year or two. Anyway, this is Crush. I almost said Crave. And I can't wait to revisit this book because I started it a long time ago, but I'm going to restart it and then hopefully finish it this month. It's a huge chunker. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Almost 700 pages, so I'm going to have a fun time with this. Okay, the next book is an adult novel, which is actually now a series. And it's the first book in the series. It's called Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo and I have a love-hate relationship. I've loved the majority of her books that I've read so far, and I've disliked a few. I'll say straight up, the Shadow and Bone trilogy is not my favorite. That's the main series she is known for, and Six of Crows. Shadow and Bone consists of Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. I loved Shadow and Bone. I loved Siege and Storm even more. I hated Ruin and Rising. I gave the book, I think, 3 to 4 stars, but I just hated the main villain so much. Not the Darkling, the other villain who takes, one of the main spots in the third book. I can't stand the stupid priest. I can't stand him. Can't. And just the way that the third book ended as well, the whole book throughout the third book, I just was so disappointed and irritated. Oh god, I'm rambling on about it again. I apologize. Or rambling on about it. Sorry. But yeah, I just didn't like the third book. And I started this book over a year ago. I liked it, at least when I was reading. I got to chapter 2-ish. I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't enjoy what I was reading. But I'm going to revisit this because this is the book club pick of the month in the Atlantis Discord, which is run by my friend Kisty and then her friend Kristen. So yeah, check out the Atlantis Discord. I might leave a link down so you can have a way to get to the Atlantis Discord. But yeah, this is the book that they're choosing for us to read this month, and I can't wait to finally read it and finish it because book 2, I think it's called Hellbent, comes out this month, I think, or it already came out. I can't remember. Anyway, it's about to release, period. But this is Ninth House. It's about a girl named Alex Stern who, I think it's called the Alex Stern series. But it's about a girl named Alex Stern who goes to Yale, and there's like these several groups of like a cult, and they're like doing a lot of witchcraft, and witchcraft situation goes awry. And also our main character can talk to the dead, I think. Okay, this next book, it was involved in some controversy, and that is Lightlark by Alex Astor. And now I say controversy because our main character, what I say main character, our author of this book, got big because of TikTok. She has a TikTok, and she basically promoted her book that way, and she just gained a lot of controversy because of some of the, I'd say, lies she told about how she got started, and also she may have promised some things that are going to be in her book that didn't end up being in her book. But honestly, I wanted to see what, this book has in store for myself. And so far, I'm not hating it, but I'm not loving it. It's kind of slow. I'm 130 pages in. So I will give my final thoughts when I finish this book. This place called Lightlark, hundreds of thousands of years, 6 realms that were all one, and then this major storm came and separated these realms because it was, dangerous, really dangerous storm. And because of that, all 6 realms were cursed, and now they have this thing called Centennial, where every 100 years, our 6 rulers come together to break the curses that were placed upon them because of what happened at Lightlark many years ago. And our main character, Isla, I say Isla instead of Isla, like a lot of people have been saying, because, I don't know, I think of the actress Isla Fisher, and her name is spelled Isla, like the main character in this book, so I'm saying Isla. She's wanting to break the curse, obviously, and free her people and all that jazz. Like I said, I'm not hating it, but I'm not loving it. We'll see how I feel. Okay, the next book, you guys, is a book I've already started, and that is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. The first book is set up basically Hunger Games in space is basically how it's described. Our main character, Darrow, has some sad situations go down in his life at the beginning of the series, and because of that, he decides to go along with the people that are. He decides to. He agrees to help some people in their plan for a rebellion and such. And so far, this series is good. I gave book 1, Red Rising, 4 stars. I thought it was really good. Very well written. And book 2 so far has been freaking amazing. Like the politics in this book and just the maneuvering of that the main character is doing is ridiculous. And I love it. I'm eating it up like it's chocolate or whatever. But yeah, definitely enjoying the Red Rising trilogy. Or, well, now it's 6 books, but the original trilogy. I'm definitely enjoying the Red Rising series. The next book I'm going to talk about is Legendary, which is the second book in the Caraval trilogy by Stephanie Garber, who I talked about a little bit ago. I read Caraval back in September, and I also read Once Upon a Broken Heart back in April. This is the second book in the Caraval trilogy, and I loved book one, and I can't wait to read book two. Caraval is about two sisters named Scarlett and Donatella who place called Caraval, which is basically a circus that appears often, and they never appear in the same place more than once. And they get invited to Caraval after so many letters that Scarlett has written to the main, to the basically the ringleader. And when they get to Caraval, a lot of really crazy things start to happen, and nothing is what it seems. And our main character Scarlett has to navigate through it all, along with the help of her male companion Julian. And oh god, I loved the first book. Like I said, can't wait to dive into this one. Our next book is called The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is a thriller, and it's about a group of people who are on an island attending a wedding, whether they're part of the wedding or not. And a lot of freaky stuff starts to happen, and I think there's a murder that's committed while they're at the wedding, or I don't know exactly the details, but like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 suspects: the bride, the plus one, the best man, the wedding planner, and the bridesmaid. They all have a secret that they're hiding, and I guess you have to figure out what that is, and if there is a murder that happens, who killed the person that dies. I don't know. I'm only 60 pages into it. It's getting interesting. We're learning a lot about each of the characters. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. And this is my first Lucy Foley novel. I also have The Paris Apartment, which I think I'll read in December. 3 more books, ladies and gentlemen. The next book I want to talk about is another thriller called No Exit by Taylor Adams. I don't know too much about this. I just heard a lot of great things, and I can't wait to read it. The next book is another Stephanie Garber. It's the sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart, called The Battle of Never After, which I think I might start as soon as I finish this video. Because I'm anxious to see what happens, because the first book kind of leaves you hanging, because, well, it's a cliffhanger ending. And yeah, definitely can't wait to read it. And the last book I'm going to talk about is History is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. Adam Silvera he writes a lot of contemporary, and he writes also quite a bit of fantasy. I first visited his writing with Becky Albertalli in where's the book? Oh, What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. They both each wrote the book, and they also each took on either of the main characters. And I wanted to see Adam Silvera on his own. I own a few of his books, so if I like this one, I will definitely read more of his books. Actually, yeah, I have a bunch of his books that will be part of my book haul, including this one. So, yeah. This is about a boy whose boyfriend dies. After his boyfriend dies, he just goes on a downward spiral. His family or friend circle can seem to save him. It just basically details his journey of, the loss that he's suffered, and the hopefulness of the future, I guess. Anyway, you guys, that was my TBR for the month of November. I might switch some books out because, I mean, I never stay glued to the books that I plan on reading. That's just how things happen because I'm a bit of a mood reader. I've discovered that this last year. And yeah. Anyway, you guys, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. And that would also get you guys caught up on any content, or obviously you'll be notified when I post new content. And be looking for a book haul, which will be coming probably within the next day or two, because I have a ton of books that I need to share. Because I've bought so many books in the last few months. I need to stop, honestly, and read more of the books that I have than buying them. But anyway, you guys, I hope you have a great day, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.